Good Friday morning. This is Get Real with Tracy. So, you want to be an author edition. Yeah, join me every week as we will discuss topics about what it takes to become a published author. We'll start with the beginning steps to writing to the business and marketing side of it as well. Yeah, there's so much that goes into becoming an author, and I'm hoping I can share with you what I've learned as a first time author myself. And you will be able to take what I learned and put it to good use and help yourself become an author. There's a lot that goes into it, it's not just all about writing. But let's start with the writing process. The very first thing I would encourage you to do is to understand what your why is. So I have a little writing prompt that I want to ask you to do. I want you to think about, what is your why? Why do you want to write a book? What is your message? What do you have to say? What is God putting on your heart to write about? So write about that. And then I also want you to write about, what is your purpose? So God created us and he put us on this earth for a purpose and a reason. So really press into that. Sit and think. Have you discovered what your purpose is yet? So pray about it. Ask God to show you what your purpose is here on this beautiful earth that we get to call home. And then thirdly, it would be, what is your calling? God gives us specific gifts and insights, and we're to use them not only for our sake, they're not given just for us, but to help others as well. So, what is God calling you to do? So, I really want you to spend some time on these three important topics so you can understand your why, your purpose, and your calling, because these are going to prove to be invaluable as you go through this writing process. So spend some quality time thinking and processing the answers to these questions, and then write them down, print them out, either laminate them and put them on the wall, or get a nice picture frame to put them in and put it on your desk. Wherever you plan to write, keep those handy, because you will need to refresh yourself of these reasons from time to time as you go through the writing process. It's a fun process, it's a lot of work, but as long as you stay focused and you understand your why and you keep on track, these things are really important to be able to use. So, those are the first three things. What is your why? What is your purpose? And what is your calling? So, write about those things and then keep them to where you can read and refresh your memory on that when you're going through a difficult time. It'll help inspire you and encourage you to keep pressing on. Okay, the next step in the process are having good tools of the trade. Everyone knows you got to have good tools to make it work. One of the things that I found, I wish I would have found this out beforehand, I started using Grammarly, which is a great grammar tool, and that, however, I discovered Pro Writing Aid tools, and that is my favorite by all means. They have a free version and they have a paid version. Right now, I'm just using the free version, but I probably will eventually purchase the pro version just because it's such a powerful tool. It really helps a lot. What it does that Grammarly does not do, Grammarly and pro writing aid tools do catch errors and, just basic grammar. But one of the things that a pro writing aid tool does is it will also seems to catch more errors, I think, and it provides suggested rewrites. Because if you're anything like me, I write complex sentences, and when you're writing, you're just doing kind of a dump of what thoughts are in your mind as well. And so it really helps to highlight those complex sentences and to be able to rewrite them. And it will even give you suggestions. If you're hitting a writer's block, you can use the suggestion tool on it, and that will help. Also, my absolute favorite thing that this program does is it will catch the double space after a period. Yes, indeed. I grew up in the era where you did double space after a period. And somewhere along the line, somebody come along and decided to change it to a single space after a period. So it messes me up every time I'm doing that. Believe me, having to go back through my manuscript and remove those pesky extra spaces is no fun. So make sure you look into Pro Writing Aid Tools. I will put a link to it in the description below, and make sure you get that in your toolbox. Another good tool to have is a good word processing program. Google Docs or Microsoft Word are the ones that I use. Google Docs is great because it automatically saves your document, which, as you all know, be like Jesus, always save, because there will be times that you will be writing and on a flow and everything's coming, and then all of a sudden, bloop, a glitch happens and you lose the entire document. So that is one of the big things about Google Docs that I love. It also makes collaboration easier to share with your editor, or if you have someone just reading and advising you, a coach, whatever, you can collaborate a lot easier with Google Docs than you can with Microsoft Word. And I'm not sure, though, how good it is at tracking changes, because by the time I got to working with my editor, I had switched over to Microsoft Word, which I will tell you why here in a few minutes. Also, formatting can be a little bit wonky, especially if you go between Google Docs and Word. They don't hold the formatting correctly. So what that's kind of frustrating. You're going to have to pick one of the two to use as your editing document and stuff and format with that. The one big downer that Google Docs has is their read aloud function is funky, and I could not get it to work right. It just did not work well. But Microsoft Word is awesome. They have an awesome feature on that. And that is why I chose to go with Microsoft Word for my editing process. So when you're writing your book, and I will get into some more tools that will help you in organizing your chapters and that, it's best to write one chapter at a time and each one be in a separate document. It makes it so much easier for editing. And also, when you go in to do your interior formats, you will need to have your book in single documents for each chapter. So, the thing that I like with Word, the tracking of the changes when you're working with your editor, it's much easier to follow. And my editor, we worked together very well. So it was very nice to have comments to where I could see what she was talking about. She could highlight sentences that needed to be restructured, whatever. It was a great tool for that. And of course, the read out loud function is so important. It's invaluable. So use it. I use it to read through my chapter after I get it written, and it helped me to recognize when I would have repeated something that I spoke about in another chapter. So I could go back and I could reword that and direct them to the chapter that goes into more detail on the issue I was talking about. So make sure you do use that function. It is an invaluable tool. Formatting is, uh, I said easier, but uh, Microsoft Word can be very glitchy and it doesn't always hold the format at times. So, you know, it's either user error here or it's the program that's got glitches in it. So you just have to kind of pick and choose which one works better for you. But I chose to use Microsoft Word for the majority of my document. Outside of Google Docs, I use Google Docs because I was in an author school and we had to have our documents on Google Docs in order for our coaches to be able to go through and check what we were doing, give us some feedback and that. So it worked wonderful for that. So you can use both. It's just not as easy to transition from Google Docs to Word or from Word to Google Docs, either one, because they don't like each other very well. They don't play well together. So you have to probably go back and do some formatting. So what I basically did is I wrote most of my book in Google Docs because of the always save feature, and then I would take them over chapter by chapter into my Word document and do my formatting there, to where then I take it into Adobe InDesign to do my internal layouts. And I'll get into some of the more advanced tools later on as we get into that process more. Another tool that's nice to have, especially if you hit a writer's block, is ChatGPT. However, I will caution you about using AI. Amazon has come out with some new policies about using AI to write books. You can use it as a guide. So, like if you are heading, like for instance, I was struggling with my introduction and I couldn't quite figure out how to write my introduction. So, I went ahead and took the subtitles of each of my chapter and I put it in prompts into ChatGPT to see what an introduction would look like, because I wasn't quite sure about all this because I'm still new to this. I'm a newbie here. And so, anyway, it was very helpful because it showed me how to write it, what it should look like in that. So then I was able to take what I had seen there and write my own introduction. So be very careful. You can use it as a guide like that to help you get through some writer's block and perhaps maybe reword a complex sentence or whatever. Pro Writing Aid Tools does use AI as well in that suggestion for complex sentences. So you have to be very careful in how you choose to use it, and make sure if you do use AI to help you with a certain sentence or segment of your writing, make sure you rewrite it into your own words and make it sound like your voice, because you need to know what your voice is. You need to, and we'll get into this further when we talk about voices probably in the next week or so, understanding what your voice is so it sounds the same and it doesn't bounce back and forth between you and AI. Just a little tip there. Another thing I absolutely, this is the top thing that you need to budget some money for and set aside: hire a good editor. And I'm not talking about someone who's good with grammar. There are three types of editing: there's the grammatical, there's structural, so that entails sentence structure, and then there's developmental that goes into the whole putting everything together. Make sure you pick an editor that can do all of that. And I've found a wonderful editor, and I will provide anyone who wants a link, comment below, and I will provide for you. I will message you with her contact information. So, editing is one of the most critical parts of your book. My editor did such a great job that she elevated my book to a whole new level. It wouldn't be the book that it's going to be because of her. She was awesome. She was tremendous. And it taught me a lot. I learned so much as an author, a newbie author, of, okay. Like the introduction, for instance, I was struggling so much with that. And she said, okay, I want you to just take all of your chapter, subheadings and put those together. And that's how you use to write kind of an introduction of what that chapter is going to be about. And then the overall book introduction as well. So she really helped me a lot. She's got her MBA in linguistics, so she knows what she's doing. And it's been like 40 plus years for me since I've been out of college. And I'll tell you what, you get cobwebs in your brain when you're not using it all the time. So it does help to have a really good editor. Don't skimp here. Another great tool that I highly recommend for creating your book outline and just brainstorming when you do like a brain dump or writing dump is Microsoft Whiteboard. And basically, what this is like if you saw a whiteboard on a wall and you had little post it notes that you could put together and you organize your thoughts, and you can get your main points put on there. You can get your supporting information that goes with that, scriptures that you might have with it, graphics that you might want to put on there, whatever you want on there. You can organize it all on there and you can shift it around and move it around super easy. I prefer it that way. My coach, Havilah Cunnington, when I went through her author school, she prefers to use those big post-it papers that sit on an easel and use actual physical post-it notes. I don't like that. I'm a computer girl. Give it to me on the computer. Whiteboard, Microsoft Whiteboard works well and it's free. So make sure you use that tool. Another thing is make sure at the end of your book, as you've gone through your editing process, make sure to check for plagiarism. Grammarly does have an option in their pro version that does this, but you have to pay for that. And I'm sure Pro Writing Aid Tools probably does have the same thing as well. Grammarly does have a citation tool. It's really nice. There are three different styles of editing. There's the APA, the Chicago, and the oh geez, just went blank. I will find that and I will put it up above when my memory comes back. But anyway, so you need to pick a style that you're going to use for your book. Like mine is edited in kind of a hybrid between Chicago and a little bit of APA. So anyway, but Grammarly citation tool, you can pick whichever one that you want to do that. And you just put in, like, if you're citing a book, you put the author's name, the date it was published, who the publisher was, and it will write it all up for you. All you have to do is copy and paste it into your footnotes. And that great tool to use. So then the third step, I would say, is for you to create a workspace for you to write from. This needs to be a distraction-free zone so you can focus on your writing. Make sure you have all the equipment you need right there on your desk or right near you. Make sure you have a very comfortable chair to sit in because let me tell you, you'll be sitting for a long time. So make sure you have a good comfy chair. It could be in your house, you could be in an office, it could be a little nook in your kitchen or in your bedroom, whatever is going to provide you some distraction free area to write. Make sure you find a place. Get yourself a desk and have it set up where you have everything that you need for writing right there in front of you. Some people like to go outside and write when it's beautiful and they get inspired there. So do that outside. Or some people like to do it in a coffee shop. That would be too distracting for me, but others can do that. And or in a library. Libraries are always good. So just make sure you find a space and you keep it distraction free. So, like, turn your cell phone off, which is a reminder to me because I don't think I just did that. So, I'm putting mine on silence now. And then once you have your space put together, then set a time each day that you're going to be specific for writing, that you're just going to sit and write and make sure that you keep that at the same time. It just kind of gives you that, it trains your body into thinking, okay, I'm sitting at this desk, I'm ready to write, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write. So your mind will kick in and get in that mode. So, and like I said, make sure you keep your why, keep your purpose and your calling, put it together in a little frame and put it on your desk. So you're going to need that as you move forward in your writing process. The next thing I want you to think about is why write a book? Why write a book? There's lots of reasons why you should write a book. There's never going to be enough books on this planet Earth. There's always room for more. So don't let that stop you. You have a story to tell and it needs to be told because it can impact and it can change people's lives. So you have a unique perspective to share. You have years of experience and insight that you've learned in your lifetime you can share. Your testimony is vital to helping others struggling with similar situations in life. It imparts hope to them that if God did it for you, He'll do it for them. And you have a message to get out to the world. So that is why you should write a book. And what do you write about? Well, write about lessons you've learned and experiences you've gained. People need to hear your story. it helps them and you see how God was with you through your entire experience. You get to learn what your values are and your beliefs are. So make sure you do that. Okay, so that's the little writing part of it for this podcast. Next, we will go into talking about the business side of being an author. Yeah, there's a business side to it. This is something my author school did not discuss, and I kind of wish that they would have. But anyway, so what you need to do is create a business entity. So your state attorney general's office will have information on how to create your entity, whether you decide to do a doing business as, or whether you decide to do an LLC. You can be a sole proprietor LLC. So it's not hard to do. Costs will vary between states. In Idaho, it's $100 for an LLC, and that will give you an EIN, which is an employee identification number. So you don't have to use your social security number. A DBA, on the other hand, will just be doing business as Tracy Maddox. That's me, my author pen name. So you can use your personal name, you can create a memorable name, or use your pen name if you have a different pen name. But a DBA requires you to have to use your social security number. So just remember that. And then you'll need to go to the state and obtain a seller's permit, because you'll need to be able to have that to sell. And then it's very helpful if you do create a business plan. And that's, as we go through this, you'll learn things that you could put into that and stuff. The Small Business Development Center is available to help you out. Make sure you go to the Small Business Development Center or the Small Business Administration, and they can help guide you. They have lots of materials, and that will help you out. And then lastly, later on, we're not going to do it today because, of course, we don't need to yet, but we need to discuss the marketing of your book, because you're going to have to market it. Even if you are traditionally published, you will still have to market it. And one of the most important things a traditional publisher will look at is how big is your author platform. So that is something that you need to start building. So that is one of the reasons why I'm doing these podcasts, is to build my platform, to reach out to more people, provide good information for them to help them along the way so that they too can fulfill their dreams of becoming a published author. So I thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you have a great day. Hope this information is helpful to you. And don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you want more information. Every Friday we will have discussions on So You Want to Be an Author. So please be sure to join us then. Have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.